Okay, so today we're going to be cooking up a delicious sausage and ground beef chili. So the ingredients here, you obviously had your ground beef there, you got sausage. We're going to use 3 onions, we're going to use 2 yellow, 1 red. We're going to use a couple of cloves of garlic. We're going to use some Old Bay, some turmeric, some tomato sauce, some diced tomatoes, an assortment of different chili powders, some black beans, some cumin, some cannelli beans, and some lentils. We're even going to throw a couple other things in there that you'll see later in the video. But for right now, just have that and go ahead and get out your pan, your skillet, whatever you're going to brown your meat in. We're going to start by cooking the sausage because we're going to save half of that for a recipe later. So we're just going to go ahead and throw our sausage in. I'll speed up this process of me chopping and browning this, and then we'll go ahead and move to the ground beef, get both of those browned up, and we'll continue on with our recipe. Okay, so all we're doing here is obviously just taking out the ground sausage. We're going to put it into the pot we're going to make the chili in. So I'm personally saving the other pound of this. There's 2 pounds here. You're going to want to use a pound, so I'm saving the other pound. I got this in the pan. We're going to go ahead and brown up the ground beef. Alright, so that's the leftover ground sausage we had. We're going to go ahead and use that same pan that we cooked the sausage in. We're going to throw our 1 pound of ground beef into it. So you just go ahead and do the same thing. You chop it up. You brown your ground beef up. I'm cooking on a high heat right now, but I'm going to turn it down here to a medium high pretty soon once it gets up to temperature. But as soon as you're done and this is brown, you just throw that right in the pot where you have your sausage at. Then you're going to start adding your canned goods. Normally when I'm making this, I just kind of go off the cuff, but for the video I did take exact amounts of what I use, so I will put that in the description box. But you'll see that I kind of add as I go and trying to get a feel for exactly what it needs. But I start off here with some diced tomatoes and a little bit of tomato sauce, and then I go ahead and start adding a little bit of beans. You'll see that I just drain my beans in the sink. Some people like to rinse them. That just lowers the sodium of your beans. But just keep on cooking with me here. You'll see this will come together really well. It smells great now, and it's going to smell even better really soon. So follow along. We're going to have some delicious chili. Okay, so as you can see here, I've already drained my cannelli beans. I got those added in here. Now I'm going to add my lentils in. I do not drain my lentils. I just throw those right in. So next we're going to add in our diced couple more cans of diced tomatoes, and we're going to add in some more tomato sauce as well. Now this is really a personal preference type of thing. It's just a matter of how thick you like your chili and how much you want it to be kind of saucy and how much you want the kind of hardiness of those diced tomatoes in there. So I like heavier on the diced tomatoes than on the saucy side, so you'll see me add a good bit more diced tomatoes and tomato sauce. And for onions, I like to have big long chunks of onions, so I'll go ahead and just cut those up in kind of almost an onion strip, as you'll see. Sorry for the camera roller coaster ride, but you get the general idea. And I go ahead and throw those in the pot, and there's no need to break those apart. As you cook them, they'll break themselves apart, so you don't have to worry about that. Now with the purple onion, I do like to dice that up so you get the small little pieces of purple onion. I'll save a little on the side there to garnish on the top later. But you'll see again here, there's no reason to break them apart like I'm doing right there, just to show you. There's no reason to do that. You just throw them in, and as you stir and as it cooks, it'll break itself up. So here's your secret ingredient. It's this morning's coffee. So you're going to add about 1/3 to 1/4 of a cup of coffee. Just adds a really nice, deep, rich flavor to your chili. Goes excellently with the tomatoes. It's so delicious, so I definitely recommend it. Really, in any chili, just a little bit of coffee, just a hint, and it gives it a really delicious, almost unexpected, but delicious flavor. So here we're going to go ahead and start with our spices. So we start with our first tablespoon of just regular old chili powder. Now I have 2 different other varieties of chili powder. So I got an ancho chili and a chipotle chili. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 1/2 tablespoon of each of those, and then I'm going to add those in. But if you don't have those chilies, it's fine. Just use 2 tablespoons of your regular chili powder. And then, as you'll see here in a second, we're going to move on to cumin. So we're going to do a whole tablespoon of cumin. Oh, look, I'm spilling everywhere. I'm cumin all over the place. There's my mom telling me not to spill. So next we're going to get almost a whole tablespoon of Old Bay, about 3/4 of a tablespoon of Old Bay. So if you can at all avoid it, do not substitute for seasoned salt. Old Bay is where it's at. Try and use that if you can. Here's some great shots of stirring. Buddy, that looks delicious. So, as you'll see, I almost forgot to chop up my fresh garlic. But definitely chop up, dice your fresh garlic, throw it in there, and you're going to want to let that cook for at least an hour. By the way, don't forget your turmeric. Definitely throw that in. You're looking at about a teaspoon of turmeric. Ooh, that's a tongue twister for you, but look at that chili. It's smelling delicious, looking great too. Alright, so as you see there, I just added in some fresh cracked black pepper, and I also added in a teaspoon of paprika, so don't forget that either. Now the next thing we're going to add in here is something that you definitely have to add because it alters the flavor of the tomatoes. You're going to want to add in some beer. So it doesn't have to be great beer. You can just throw in some Busch or some Coors or some Miller, anything like that, and just, you're going to probably want to about double the amount of coffee that you use there. So what that does, it actually takes some of the bite off of the tomatoes, so it really allows those spices to set into the tomatoes so it's not so heavy with that tomato bite, especially if you're not planning on cooking it for over an hour, hour and a half. It will really let your flavor set in quickly. So beer is definitely essential, and the best part is as you cook this for about an hour, hour and a half, you can go ahead and finish that beer, and if you're so inclined, you can crack another one. Alright, so here is your finished product. You'll see here that our onions are clear. That's a good sign that your chili's ready to eat. So again, the longer you cook this for, the better it's going to be. If you simmer it for 2 hours, it's going to be better than 1. But you know what? It is absolutely delicious at 1. My whole house smells amazing. So to be honest with you, I've already had a bowl of this chili, and it was absolutely delicious. So I hope you try this recipe. I hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it.